Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. It's usually the part of the meeting where we ask if there's anything somebody wants to bring up. We can't talk about it, or whatever we can talk about, we can't make any decisions. Or is there anybody that's got anything they want to talk about? All right, good, thanks. All right, the health department update.
You're gonna get this meeting over with.
I got you, John.
Tammy, can I talk about my grant if it's not on
No,
there?
we need to speed through this.
I'm sorry.
It's
Go
okay.
ahead, do it. Go on.
Are you
Yeah,
sure?
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
It's a update.
Flu clinic, we always do a courthouse county employee flu clinic in this room, but we just have to get your guys' approval to work with Tammy and get that scheduled.
Consensus?
I'm good to go.
There you go, good.
Thank you. Did you guys get any bids on the unsafe dwellings renewal?
Actually, I contacted West Road, Brown Royalty, Coomer, John Albert, and I didn't give a deadline. I just told them,
Yeah.
could you please bring them into the auditor's office? And West Road told me he was bringing one. So,
Okay.
and I know Brian said he'd get one too. So,
Okay, so maybe next
I
time.
sent them the email that you sent me about here's what we're asking. They also went out to the property on
Yeah.
North Terry. They said, I don't know what you're wanting us to do here. So
Okay.
that might be one that we're gonna have
Maybe
some
some pictures.
guidelines.
Okay.
Because I went by there,
Yeah.
the barn I think is down. They're burnt. They had a big burn pile out there like they were burning.
At New Frankfurt or Lover's Lake?
New Frankfurt.
Okay, yes.
But what, I guess the other part of that, since we got into that,
Yeah.
what are we doing about the other part of no electricity, no plumbing?
Is that still an issue?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a shed and they were standing out, walking around outside, so I didn't really stop to.
Okay.
Now they're heating it with wood.
Yeah, I saw a big pile of wood there.
Did it look like there had been any change in the waste situation?
Really couldn't tell. It looked like they were clearing stuff off, but again, I think us contracting someone, we need to be more specific on that property.
Okay.
All 3 or 4 people that I talked to said that they would, now you're wanting us to clean up all the debris, everything that's in the area and everything else, and I said, here's the guidelines, and to my knowledge, that's what we're talking about. We don't want any waste left on the property, so.
Okay. I'll go.
I'm not gonna open this until I get the rest of them, so.
You want me to put it back in the folder?
Yeah.
I'll go out there and look and maybe take some pictures and then send them to you, and then that way you can.
But to clear the air, I talked to John Abbott.
Okay.
I sent a message to Jeff Coombs, to Earth Solution, and I actually called Court McLaughlin, but Court said, I'm not doing that anymore, but Wes Roll will, so I contacted Wes, and he called me on Saturday and said, hey, or actually Sunday, he said he's out there riding around trying to see what we're talking about, so.
Okay.
And he said he would leave it at the auditor's office, so.
And I don't think we have to do any bids at all. This is just trying to be fairness, isn't it?
We're trying to be
Yeah.
fair here.
Yeah, you guys could have said last time who you had somebody in mind.
But, and this is where I think we need to find a different avenue to advertise some stuff, because none of these guys saw it in the Crowsville Times, and not saying that's not bad, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that every one of them said, yes, I'll get something, so. And if there's anybody else, I mean, if somebody sees this and,
Right.
I don't know any other people that do that, I just contacted people that I know that do demolition, and
Right.
Every one of them said they would try to get something, so.
But as we would say try and take bids for the lowest bidder in order to help the property owner
Yeah.
Yes.
not get that big argument.
It's the right way to do it.
Marcella,
So if you guys did condemn that property, and they're still staying out there, there's kids playing in the,
We did not
Yeah.
condemn that property.
No.
so it's not been condemned?
No.
we
Okay.
condemned the facility or the building, barn,
The
whatever,
unsafe
the
building.
house that was up, and we also said that night or that day we had that hearing that,
I think condemnation is probably not the right term. We declared that the building was unsafe for
Unsafe,
human
yeah.
habitation.
So they're allowed to stay in that
no,
shed?
No, the shed, that's a different issue that we were not aware of
We-
until that hearing
Okay,
happened.
because like I said, the other night I went by, there was kids standing by the fire that were burning.
Oh, I went there
Last
too.
night, the chimney was smoking in that shed. I'm sure,
Oh,
they don't
there,
have smoke detectors. What if those kids get burned up in the
Well,
shed?
my thing is, when anyone
allowed to
calls the
stay.
health department and complains about child safety that's a DCS problem. So if you feel strongly about that, you can always make an anonymous complaint to the DCS hotline. The issue that was brought up at the hearing was that people are staying in that house that does not have running water and waste. That's the health department's issue. Now, Marty may have another issue as far as size of that house and how they're
well, that definitely.
meeting requirements for that. But ours is the waste, and I've talked to Debbie, the property owner, whenever we were talking about what exactly we're gonna clean up when people go out there. And I reiterated that that cannot happen the way it was. And she seemed to be aware of that, but I'll recontact her and make sure that that's
That-
not.
To
So
be
they can
clear,
stay
that's,
in that shed. They're
no,
able to live in that
no,
right now. That's what they're
no.
doing.
I know, hang on a second. That's two different issues.
Yes.
Two different situations, and we told her that day on the phone that when she said, well, my dad and my aunt's living out there, and I let her continue, then I went back and I said, first of all, we got a problem, you cannot do that. And, you know, and if in the conversation with her, I could even tell that she didn't think it was a big deal, because she goes, well, my dad, and she openly said they got a generator and everything else. Well, you cannot do that. And then I heard there were kids there, and that's when, once again, I want to tell everybody, the Board of Commissioners cannot make a complaint. A homeowner can make a complaint to the health department. The homeowner can make it, rather, I say concerned citizens can make a complaint to the home, or the health department, also to the area plan about, hey, there's something out here that we don't like, and rightly so. If there is children living there, which I
I don't remember that.
I'm not
that being
saying
brought up
I
in
heard
conversation
that.
until now.
I heard there was a father and an aunt that was living there,
Correct.
and if you're saying there's children out there, that falls into another category of
DCS.
DCS. And
But even excluding the children, I mean, like I said, I mean, you know, it's been brought before you guys verbal with what's going on out there. Plus you've driven by and seen it.
yeah,
Right.
I've been there.
So
And
it's facts
it's
that's
the
that's going on.
The only issue that was brought before the Board of Commissioners was relative to the home. My understanding is was a shed that's a separate structure, correct?
Correct, that's my
So we
understanding.
were given, notice of a complaint regarding a structure. That structure was determined uninhabitable, based on its condition.
So,
We cannot, the Board of Commissioners has no legal authority to affect the property rights of a county citizen without providing the county citizen notice and opportunity for a hearing. So if there is an issue, it has to be brought back before the commissioners regarding any other issue. I mean, I don't know what the complaint would be, whether it's a health department issue, whether it's that, but they don't have unilateral authority to just say, everyone from that property must vacate. You don't have the ability to do
So, Marcella, do you know, I mean, I know you said you have somebody that lives across the street or in the
I
area,
got family that lives there, yeah.
but are the kids, are there kids living there? How old are the kids, and are they there on a full-time basis?
See, that's what I don't know.
See, and I think you're getting into it because you care and you have a good heart, but I don't think that's not us. Even if she knew for sure how long they stayed there, what I would tell her and anybody that calls and says this is an issue with children is call the DCS. There's an anonymous hotline. That's their job. That's what the assessors get paid out to go look at that place
Okay.
and say, there's kids that do live here. This is unsafe. We need to figure out a solution for these children. It could have just been, I don't know, they could just be there every day, but not living there.
I guess my question is, if there's a dad and an aunt, it's obvious either the grandkids or somebody else. I mean, where's the parents?
What I don't
I
understand
assume
is
this would be her kids.
if they're saying the conditions are unlivable, they should be living those conditions.
I get that, but
And where do they
there is
go?
a process.
I know, but who's?
I mean, you immediately, if I see it today, I immediately can't go out there and run them
Right.
off the property.
I
I mean,
understand that.
but there's a process that has to happen,
But
and
I mean, if it's through the health department.
Really, if they, and from the health department standpoint, if they live out there, but they go across the road to the restroom and dispose of their waste, which is what we're concerned of properly, it's not really a health department issue at that point. Then that may be area planning, depending on how they're making a shed a habitable dwelling. But health department, what we're concerned about is the waste and how they're disposing of that waste and it being an environmental concern.
There would be a point, I think, and you can explain to me, we can do all we want to, but if everybody refuses to cooperate, we'd probably have to have a judge involved somewhere, wouldn't we? Just say if these people do have a problem with their children, CPS goes out and deems it a
Right.
problem. we'd
That's
have
a-
to have a
that's a
judge-
separate
that could
problem.
end
Judge
up-
and prosecutor would then get in the middle of it.
That's, yeah, it would be a
Yes.
DCS
It
process.
ain't something we just jump in and say,
But we could jump in, the health department could jump in and say, hey, you're not disposing of your waste properly, like, let's
Yes.
look at that situation. And then I think area plan, which I'm not, don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I think you guys could jump in on the square footage and all that, right?
Right.
Well, we had the same thing happen at another area that I got a phone call on that I asked you to look into, and it was somebody living in a tent. And
What they told us was that's just a weekend camping.
I get that. Well, now there's a big chain across the mowed down part that they mowed back to their tent.
Yeah,
And then there's a no trespassing sign up, and
yeah,
so it's gonna get cold here for long, and
yeah.
I don't know if they got,
And I mean, we have people who probably live in tents that,
I know that.
you know, homeless and
So
whatnot.
basically, if nobody files a complaint, you can basically live how you want.
No,
Yeah, is what that's-
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm
Well, I mean,
gonna
we're-
honestly say yes,
It's
because,
okay.
because
How can one person or two people's
you
eyes?
can't go out and I mean, as a concerned citizen, you know, I couldn't go, I drive past places all the time that I'm thinking, how does somebody live there? You know, but it's not for me to judge their capabilities of maintaining a home for what they consider. If you were a fireman like I am, and or a police officer, and you go into somebody's house unexpectedly, you know, on emergency run when they don't think you're coming, you'd be surprised how many houses are, you know, in pretty bad shape. I mean, but you know, it's like anything else in society. What you think is terrible, somebody else has a house or a roof over their head, and that's what they consider, you know, the best they can do. And my concern is, it's on multiple levels. As a board member of the area plan, we're talking about loosening some restrictions on 200-foot road frontage and 2 acres to be able to build a house on, because with sewer systems expanding out into some different areas, you know, or some of the septic systems being more, I guess, efficient, we're kind of restricting people to be in 2 acres and 200 feet. Some other counties around us don't have anything. Some counties around us has 100 feet and no acreage. And so we're really at the extreme level of it. But the other part of that is that, and I don't know how people do it and why they want to, but these tiny homes. I mean, how's other counties dealing with people that want to build a house that's not 900 square foot or 950 square foot, which is our restrictions, you know? Or who are we to say that, would I rather a person be set out in a tent, in a shed, or set outside homeless under a bridge, or would I want them to be in something that has a roof over their head, no matter if it's something that's as primitive as you can possibly get? So there's a fine line of having somebody that their only means is that, compared to one sleeping out under a tree someplace or under a bridge or someplace else and call themselves homeless. I mean, I have a hard time figuring out what the balance is there. But when there's children involved, if there is children over there and they're staying, I think, like everybody said here, I think a call to DCS and let them handle it from that point and see where it goes, because that's their job. They're pretty good at it. I don't know how they do it every day, but they do it. So, Jeff, you
It
got a
wasn't
question?
basically what I thought, it was just the guidelines, you know, if they're not going by the guidelines, then, you know, but that's fine, I understand now that
Well, they're,
pretty much anything goes.
They may not be going by the guidelines, but you have to think about how do we enforce the guidelines? So the enforcement mechanism, part of the reason why they can't go out there is in that circumstance, they're gonna sit in the position of, in a contested hearing as the judges. It would not be okay for judges to go out and take evidence, you know, or make complaints. You know, so a complaint can be filed with an agency that can do an investigation and bring it to this board. That's how it would happen. That's how you would enforce that rule. We're not saying that they're following the rule. We're just, we can't do anything without that.
I'll reach back out to Ms. Eaton and
Not complicated, but if you have that big of a concern, it happens every day. We get calls at dispatch, sheriff's department of, hey, I don't think it's safe. Can you send somebody out, an officer to go out, he'll look at it, and then he'll make the determination to call PCS.
I just think it'd be sad if they got burned up in that shed, but, I mean, you know, it's,
well.
if
I
you're that
mean-
worried about it, make an anonymous complaint.
Well, actually, again, in this situation, well, there's no good answer except for what has been said here. If there's an issue, and we told the homeowner on that, not those people that are living out there, but the person that
property
actually
owner.
owns the property, that this cannot happen. And if we need to send a letter from
Yes.
the area plan or from the Board of Commissioners, that we will send that to them and said, you know, hey, you know, you need to not do this anymore, and, we'll go from there, so.
We'll send a letter, since we've made multiple verbal attempts to talk about it.
All right.
And
what
then,
else you
sorry,
got?
the last thing would be, a grant application, so the state came out, they got a bunch of money from federal
Everybody's got a
dollars.
bunch.
I know, right? And so we could apply for a position to come onto the health department, whether that's contracted or, benefited, that would be more of a council decision, but, it would be for $110,000. They would help us, basically work with the schools on COVID-19 reporting and, safety measures. So, the thing that kind of interests me about it was not necessarily the position, because I think we have a really good relationship with all of our school and school nurses right now. The additional help is always nice, of course, but basically as long as you meet like the 4 guidelines in this funding, which are super easy, you can use the excess money for anything, really.
It's 100%.
Yes, so no county match. It could be renewable up to another year, so possibly a 2-year thing.
So this is for a admin person technically.
So $110,000 given to local health departments to sustain and support public health COVID-19 response and efforts within the school districts.
And this is strictly for school.
We have to meet so many criteria in the school, like we have to offer, not that we would do it, but we would have to offer to come in and do a vaccine clinic. Our schools, which they already do, report every week to the school portal, and that sort of thing. So
All right.
things we're already doing, but extra money and extra
I'll
help.
entertain a motion to accept her, or let her file for a grant. Randy makes a motion.
Sorry.
Randy makes a motion, John seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
And that is all I have.
I have one.
Okay,
All right, so I'm getting a call, I know you guys have probably heard this too, people burning plastic.
okay.
In neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
On the phone
You
here.
know, it thunders in the air, the smell doesn't go anywhere, they're in like a small subdivision like type deal.
Yes, I'll make it
So
Is that not, well, is it within city limits?
It's
County?
in
No, Ronnie Avenue.
Yeah.
Ronnie
Up,
Avenue.
Catherine died.
Yeah,
Catherine Heights,
Okay,
Lover's Lane,
okay.
Plymouth Road.
So is that something you guys handle?
Well, I don't know if we would handle that or if that would be,
Let me throw
Thank
something
you.
in there, just what my involvement was too. And I sent this gentleman back the message and basically said if they're just burning wood products, grass, trash, but no plastic or any of that kind of stuff, they can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But, and I also told them if they get to burn tires and all that stuff, you get into a whole different realm, it's out of the county's way. But apparently, they have been contacting, I'm not sure who it is. I told them EPA could get involved, it's deep enough, let's see. They've been spoken to Indiana Department of Air
EMA.
Quality several times. They sent letters to these people apparently who burn regularly out there. They read
Okay.
all the county ordinances, but I haven't found unless they can show something black is coming out of that smoke. I don't know if there's anything illegal.
I know as far as tires, that falls under EMA.
Yeah.
I should be contacted if somebody's burning tires.
what about plastic?
Yeah.
I would say the same
Well,
thing.
and let me say, there's a lot of people burn their trash. I think throws the trash out into a trash can and burns it, and it's probably got plastic wrappings on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably illegal, but I think it's also very common.
Yeah.
I'd say in the county it is,
Yeah.
but it's a nuisance to the neighbor.
Yeah.
I'd say it's fine until you have a problem.
So, same
Well,
place
well,
though,
a
Catherine
nuisance
Heights?
problem.
Okay,
It is that very same place.
okay.
Uh,
Do you have the exact address to give Jeff? Jeff,
I
you
do,
wanna look into
I
that?
do.
Okay. Okay.
We probably all, I mean,
I haven't got any calls, and that's my district.
Lucky you.
I've got, you're gonna see it.
But it sounds like somebody's been in contact if they've sent a letter.
They just showed
Yeah.
video of them burning back. to
It's a
back.
daily
Video
thing. I mean,
goes
I've
back to
got more
the-
complaints than just by the one guy.
Okay.
Well, the thing about, and I'm not saying, in the city limits, because I get calls with the fire department, as long as it's in a barrier, and as long as it's wood products or brush or stuff like that, you can do that. You can't burn trash or plastic or, you obviously burn paper, but
Mike, am I wrong on this? So generally you can tell plastic because smoke will be black, is that correct?
It depends on the plastic, I guess.
yeah, plastic will burn black, but if burn barrels are out in the county, they're not separating plastic from anything else. That's a burn barrel and they're burning, I mean,
Yeah.
so,
May just be an education thing, because when you burn plastics, sometimes plastics, that is an irritant if people are breathing that in.
yeah.
So if you get any more complaints, send them my way and I'll go out.
So this individual
So you're gonna go out there
should
now?
contact you and you'll have, and I totally agree with that, but I got a feeling we're not careful. Our sheriff's gonna be doing an awful lot of busy looking for trash fires.
Well,
But that's
again,
their job, right?
that's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe if Jeff's in charge of that, maybe something, a informational thing in the paper of saying, yes, you can burn in a trash barrel, but you need to watch burning plastics in a burn barrel. I mean,
I don't think they give a thought to it when they put their trash from the day's food.
I get that, cause
I don't think they do either, but.
I'm old enough to know what a burn barrel with aerosol cans and everything else.
Yeah. Dogs will go way back to the house.
You're gonna stick your head in there.
Hairspray and everything else.
Okay. Well, let me know, Jeff, if I can help.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Is that it?
See, we were gonna fly through that. but you
Yeah, sorry,
enjoyed that.
I messed
25
that up.
minutes.
Yeah, she just messed me up. Veteran service.
I could've made some money over it.
I want to show you these first. These came in. It's kind of one of the topics that we talk about. I'll pass those on my own. The first thing is Veterans Day is coming up. It's right around the corner. The VFW in Scott County is the one that does the Veterans Day ceremony. It'll be out here at the memorial, 11 November at 11:11. So, I mean, you can't get much more than that. I've already, right now, The VFW, the American Legion, my office, and the sheriff's office have decided they want to go ahead and put up wreaths for there. There's enough spots for 6. I brought it up to the county council, and so now I'm bringing it up to you guys if you want to get a wreath out there for Scott County or commissioners or however you want to
Talking
word it.
about out here?
Out here, yes, sir.
Something just
And
from
it'll,
the commissioner?
correct, almost like the wreath I have upstairs,
Okay.
like a memorial
Over
wreath, and then it gets hung over by the memorial and it stays there all year long. So there's 6 slots, and years past, we've only used 2. And so with everything that's going on in the climate, I just want to have that, you know, we really do
So
care.
do you guys do that?
Well, the VFW is in charge of it, which is Fred Riley.
The cost of it?
The one that I did, and that was kind of up on the higher end, was less than $100, and I went to Marty's.
Can we not just take it out of our commissioner fund?
There might be a line item that we could do, we'll check and see
Okay.
if we couldn't, so, then if we can, do you just want me to
Just
talk
do
her?
it.
My
And
answer
then
is,
will you pick
yes,
out
I
the
wanna
stone?
do it.
Yep, that's fine.
and we'll have to
Well,
figure somehow
we
or other
can
we'll fund it.
bring it out of our,
However we gotta do it.
our,
I'll take your
I don't know, what do you mean do this?
general fund that we have.
You gonna make a motion on that?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion, John seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, that we're gonna place a wreath.
You do have that for the maintenance of county properties, so, and that venture trucking fund, I think we got
That's what I'm
there.
talking about.
Also, we have partnered, and some of the packets that I gave you guys, this one right here with the
Yes.
Vietnam War Commemorative Partner. We are now a Vietnam War Veteran Commemorative Partner. It is through the Department of Defense, and there's like the presidential certifications and citations. It's a new program to us. It does not cost us anything. So I just have to kind of follow the rules and regulations. I have gotten approved, and they're on their way for 50 of the Vietnam veteran lapel pins. So now, between now and November 11th, I'd like to get 50 Vietnam veterans, ones that were on boots on ground or Navy Blue Water, so that they were affected, out at that Veterans Day ceremony so that we can present them this lapel pin. The biggest part that they're pushing is Vietnam veterans did not get the respect that they deserved when they came home, the bottom line. And I tell all my Vietnam veterans, thank you, because you opened up the doorway to where when I came home, I was welcomed. So it means a lot to let these guys know, hey, you know what, you sacrificed, you saw a lot, you did a lot, and we appreciate you. I don't want to say better late than never, but it's about time that we recognize them. And
What time of day did you say on 11/11?
11/11,
Yeah, what time of day?
11/11.
Oh,
Literally 11/11, yeah. 11/11/11, yes.
Armistice Day, right?
Not PM.
Right, AM.
Yeah, me,
And as we go through this process and start really getting our veterans taken care of and getting them recognized, there's also on the back page of this, there's certificates of honor that we can get for former living POWs, unaccounted for individuals, in memory of, so they lost somebody, or deceased Vietnam veterans with their surviving spouse. So the veteran, and we've got a lot of them, has now passed, but they were service connected or they had Vietnam service, and now we recognize that veteran and we give that pin and the certificate to the surviving spouse or family. So that's pulling all of them in because they're still part of that military family. So if you want to put the word out, I've got a spreadsheet I've already started, but 50 is kind of the number that I'm looking for. If it's less, that's okay, but I'd like to get as many Vietnam veterans recognized on Veterans Day. Okay.
That'd be great.
And sponsors are awesome.
Okay, so the Military Family Relief Fund, they did a lot of changes. A lot of people from Scott County were never authorized to use it because it had to be a financial burden due to service connection. You couldn't be National Guard or Reserve. You had to have X amount, you had to go to war, there were so many restrictions on it, it wasn't being used, and the fund was just building. So in July, the legislators went through and revamped the whole thing. It's a $2,500 one-time grant, or a multiple grant, but no more than $2,500 cumulatively. It can cover housing costs, it can cover utilities, food, current medical expenses, and transportation. They're not going to buy your booze, they're not going to pay your credit cards or your cell phone bills and that type of stuff, but in Scott County, since they've made the changes, we've had 5 people request it and 5 people approved. So we're doing really well. But they've made the changes, and so now it's a push from Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs to get this information out. We got this money. It can help veterans. Let's go.
It's all money from the federal government.
No, this is state. So when you see those
State,
veteran
okay.
tags that have like Army, Navy, and that type of stuff, retired, that extra money that those veterans pay goes into this fund for those license plates. And then that just builds up, I think it's like 5 or 10%.
So is this a one-time thing?
As long as you don't meet that $2,500 is kind of the max.
Max.
So if you have to do $1,000 and then, you know, months later you run into some issues or whatever, we can always have that $1,500 kind of thing. So that is kind of.
It's not $2,500 per person.
Correct, it's $2,500 for the veteran and their family, maxed out period. The nice thing is it is a grant, so there's no payback on it. So it is money handed, and it's a paperwork process, and so,
I'm
and
guessing you'd have to set up a fund probably too.
I don't have to, no, this is already done, this is through Indiana Department of
I
Veteran
mean,
Affairs.
you wouldn't even deal with it locally. you'd just-
Correct, all I do is the
You plan to do
paperwork
that.
and send it up to Indianapolis, and Indianapolis
Okay.
makes the decision, and then it gets direct deposited into the veteran's account.
Fantastic.
So all we have to do is make sure that we get the word out to veterans in need, especially COVID, now that's winter, heaters, roofs, and everything else. So that is kind of the big thing with the updates for the Military Family Relief Fund, but it's come a long way from when it first started.
I think it's wonderful.
And then I guess the last piece, next week, I know we're juggling between people being in the office, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week, which are my days to work normally. I will be in the advanced appeals course so that I'm trained on how to take our veterans and represent them at the Washington DC level for hearings, for their appeals and set it up correctly.
What's those dates?
The 25th through the 27th, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So.
I mean, or just being there won't be nobody there.
Correct.
So we need to
And
make sure our people up front and we get some.
And I have a notice that will be up in the window and everything else. I don't have any appointments scheduled. I don't have any homebound visits or anything like that. So, and the word has gotten out that we are doing homebound visits. It's a little labor intensive, and it requires me to leave the office to do the claim, but we're taking care of our veterans that physically can't get into us. So, and there are a multitude of them, but we're
Well, I've been up to see you 2 or 3 times, and every time I go in, I can't get in because there's veterans lined up. And that thrills me, by the way.
Thank you.
And that's good. We want to take them care of.
So, I know the last meeting you were here with us, you talked about adding names to the memorial. Are those like?
They're in process.
Iraq?
There's a multitude of them.
Afghanistan?
It's the ones that we have. So there were 5 that we said. Then after doing more work and looking at, one of those names was peacetime. So we had to pull that one. However, I got a veteran that doesn't live here, but his home of record when he joined is here, and he happened to be here in Scott County and dropped off his DD 214 so he could be added. So it's kind of balanced out. So now I'm just kind of waiting on Legacy to give me a date of the day that they're actually going to put it on the wall.
Okay, so I know it's a war memorial, but I mean, so the only people can be on that wall, somebody that served in a conflict or a war? Or
During
whatever.
a wartime era.
Okay.
So you didn't have to actually go, but if you served during that wartime era, so like if you served from August 1st of 1990 to current, you would go on the Desert Storm Wall.
May never left the States.
But they may have never left the States, but if they served during that time, they're considered.
So also, we talked at that meeting about vets that didn't sign or I guess enlist in Scott County, but they've lived here all their life, not being on that wall. And we talked about at that time that it was a local discretion or rule that we followed that. Is that committee, I mean, was that a committee that was just formed through?
Specifically for that particular purpose. So.
So can we supersede those rules?
I personally, my own personal opinion is that follow the money that was established for that purpose. and they raised the funding for that,
It's over
for that
$22,000.
particular purpose. So to me, that's almost like a grave. You don't desecrate the purpose and how the money was spent to initially do that. If you guys want to recognize somebody in a different capacity, I would say start up another project and start the funding for that and serve that purpose. Because to me, it's kind of like if you decided you wanted to do a commissioner's wall out here, and then 30 years later, somebody decided, well, I want council on there too, and then they changed your particular purpose. To me, it took away from what it was initially started.
So who was on that board? And I mean,
1980.
There's a book, there's actually a hardcover book. that
Oh,
was
see, I don't
published.
even have that.
Yeah, that goes over those people, a lot of the,
well, I guess my question here is that, if you, and, you know, I guess clarify what I'm trying to think here is that if someone's from, graduates Scottsburg High School and gets either drafted, you know, back in the draft stopped before I got there, but, was drafted or volunteered to go to Iraq or Afghanistan, and they went to Louisville.
As long as their home of record says Scott County on it. on
So
their
as long
DD
as they lived in Scott County and they said, I live in Scott
Yes.
County, but I'm okay, then
Yes.
that clarifies it, cause I know a lot of people that, you know, went somewhere else.
Correct.
And enlisted, but you're saying as long as they said my hometown is
As long as Scott County is on their DD 214, their discharge documents saying that was their home of record, then that has been the nod to say, yes, they're
Okay.
good.
All right.
And then, I know I talked to Randy, slightly about the veterans that don't fall in that wartime, like what you were talking about. And it would be a project, but a lot of other places, a lot of other states will do like brick walkways. The family member can buy the brick, and I have not even gotten into pricing or telling you how much it is, but the brick, and they could put their veteran's name on it and dates of service, and then the brick can be laid, and then it could be, you know, anybody that's moved here, left here, you know, had a party here, whatever, because then we're not taking away from the memorial for itself.
get
We're
that.
kind of adding to it.
Well, that kind of falls into something I've been talking about putting a sidewalk on the inside of the courtyard. That may be out there in front of that memorial, that area could be for something like that, and the rest of them could be maybe people that want to donate. I mean, I went over to Madison not too long ago, and that whole waterfront is donation bricks, I mean, for the sidewalk out there. So maybe it's something that we could do a project at that time for those people that want to, you know, do it in front of the memorial out there for that section of sidewalk or something, so.
Raise the curve while we're at it.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, an idea that we were kind of playing
Okay.
with, so it doesn't take away.
All right.
Can I retain you real
absolutely.
quick?
Yes, sir.
Because we're gonna have a talk here with Mr. Phil Stuckey. So, all of us want to increase your office to, you know, the health department building. Do you feel like it would be an injustice to use that temporarily for Thrive until we got the church building built for them to use?
Do we have an estimated time on the church building? That would be my only question,
We don't know.
Okay.
I mean, we would try to hurry that up as quickly as possible. But
I've never been in there. I've heard some.
Which parts?
The church. I've never been in the church, so I've heard it's pretty scary. And something that we were just talking about outside is the possibility of sharing the building. Is there a way for both of us to work in that building at the same time? When the church gets done, they can go over there, and life is good as can be. But, you know, I'm not.
It would be for me, but I don't know you.
Yeah, I'm not above, and neither is he sharing the building to say, okay, let's make this work for both of us.
I'm not too sure you both couldn't share that building.
Yeah, that's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
bro, not the
Well,
church.
what-
Not the church, that old health
But
department.
before we get into that, I was gonna ask
Well,
you a
think
question tonight, was,
It's one way to fix up the church.
you said
It's utilized.
you said
That's
at
why
one
we
time
use the
that
church.
you needed a facility, not for your offices necessarily, but you need more of a conference room, or as John didn't like, a rec room.
That's all I heard.
But what exactly is your need? Because at one time it seemed like when we said, well, we can give you this space, and you said, well, that's not gonna work, we need something, you know, a different size of area. You're not talking, are you talking about counseling rooms, kind of like, or are you talking about a rec room where,
Yeah, so just to clarify, you know, the old health department would not suffice for, I'm gonna say it, John, a rec room. You know, but it would suffice for holding groups, individual counseling sessions, medical intake, stuff like that.
so what you're talking about where you're saying, I've got these people lined up, and that would work for that?
Yep, that, the old health department?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I know there's
Because-
several offices in there, or
Yeah,
several
and that's
areas.
what, there's, so if you kind of walk in, so if you come in from the ramp, which would, we were kind of talking outside, there's the
You're
bathroom.
talking about the
on
back door.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's the bathroom on the
I'm
right.
okay with the back.
On the left is like a little office building, the next one is the kitchenette, the next one is another office, then you have a bigger office.
Yeah.
And then you kind of have the big lobby, and then you have the 3 offices on the
South
left-hand
end.
side. And so ours, and we were kind of talking, and we were actually asked, I said, how many offices would you need? And she said, probably 2 and like a little waiting room. And we were kind of talking, and you know, if she took kind of the office side by the ramp side, and we shared the bathrooms and kitchenette, and then we took the 2 group rooms, and then the other offices, I mean, I think we could make that work really well.
I think so too.
Now I hear that she likes listening to stuff like Metallica during the day.
Well, that's right down
But
there.
No, mine's
that's
Gen
not
X.
too big an issue.
Gen
I'm a
X.
Prince guy myself. You
We
may
can
not
tell.
know that, Randy. But, I mean, I think that sort of thing would be a lot better. I would feel better about, one, invading on space, especially for the veterans. You know, that's one thing I think we can all agree on is whatever we can do for veterans, we need to do for veterans. And then, you know, the second thing is, you know, if we can cohabitate, that would be great.
We would probably, I don't know if it makes any difference or not, we probably would wanna get the hospital on this, just simply because they own all the parking. We own, make sure I'm right, we own the park, own the building, they own everything around it.
We own the footprint of the building, that's it.
And then,
Yeah.
so we need them to,
I-
I think we had to have that even when the health department was out there, we had to have their approval. So I think we gotta have them involved.
I appreciate what you're saying that you can do that. I mean, I think we talked about, because when we said, oh, we're gonna do this, and you go, well, that's fine for a rec room, but that's not gonna work for the other part of your project. And I guess I never thought about asking the hospital for their parking area, but,
This is crazy.
Well, is that
I mean,
just a
we got-
memorandum or a request or?
We got a $1 million building that we can't use. We got a house that's landlocked in a hospital that we have to ask permission to get to.
oh, I get it.
That's pretty much accurate.
This is ludicrous. It's
I just,
ludicrous.
I think I don't think that's.
But it might be the way to go.
I don't think it's gonna be a problem, but I mean, it's been there for 40
Ever.
years probably. So, and we've used it for 40 years, but now the hospital's owned by a private and, you know, I won't say private company, but a
Is Mike still over
corporation.
there? Is Mike still the CEO over there?
No,
No,
No.
the new guy.
actually, there's not a new guy.
He quit too.
He moved on to another hospital and it's back to with, a guy from Clark County. Marty.
Yeah, so, which he loves us, by the way.
I know,
So in order to move
I don't
on,
know about that.
I'm sure we have right of way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I would
there's-
We haven't
I don't think it means we
invested
couldn't do
that.
it, but I don't think I'd wanna get out there and then call in one day going, hey,
There's absolutely no way they could prevent you from using the building for whatever purpose you would like to use it for. The question is, could they prevent people from parking?
yeah.
Probably, but why would they?
Why? Yeah, why? It's empty
I-
most of the time anyway.
Disruptive.
I expect they'd say, yeah, go ahead, but
well, can we
Let's,
go ahead and vote on this and to get it moving in the contingency
Yeah, you
that
can make it conditional upon approval. by-
Yeah, I would do that and then just get an approval letter from, actually the guy I've talked to out there is Stephen Carey, so.
Is
Oh.
this for, is it one, it's a Gardner Lane?
I guess yes, I'm gonna ask another question because I think Zach, you asked Phil last time. Does he have to have some sort of paperwork showing occupying a,
Yeah, you can make it conditional on, providing that stuff to me as well.
okay,
Yeah, and I think the only thing we didn't have, which he has the policy and all that, was the deck paper.
The deck sheet.
And Jeannie, who's with the Scott County Partnership, was on vacation. She came back this week, so I didn't get it to her this week.
Okay,
But
so
so
what,
we have the policy given
I mean-
in, but not the deck sheet.
And my only thing is, I think State Board of Accounts likes to have agreements for this.
like an MOU?
Yeah, I basically have an agreement drafted, a proposed agreement, if you wanna kind of, I don't know exactly how you'd like to do this, Tammy, for you, but if you'd like to table this vote till the end of the meeting, I mean, or,
I actually have a temporary location for Thrive on the agenda,
oh, okay.
so I think we're good as far as I think they could take action on the temporary location for
I just
Thrive.
don't have a copy of the agreement in front of me.
I see,
Yeah,
so
so-
they could
We
vote
signed
to
it at the
allow
end of it.
contingent upon the agreement and the letter from the hospital for the, clearance for parking, then they're allowed to share the space? Move forward with that?
Well, we figured out the parking thing too. If the hospital says no, we'll use the DAV vehicle, just pull people in, drop them off, take them off.
See, listen to him, you can't trust a thing he says, cause we know that's illegal too.
I just wanna be, because
I
there's certain,
understand how you fell down and hurt yourself now.
so,
I kicked him.
We can use your vehicle.
it's 1471 Gardner Street, Scottsburg, Indiana, is that the right address?
What was the health department's old
That's it.
address?
Okay. So, just so everybody, so it's not responsible for utilities, or any other fees associated with anything, and no rent required. That's what the county wants. I'm just trying to, is that correct, or
We're
Yeah.
responsible for
you
utilities.
would be responsible for utilities? Yep.
Have a party, leave the lights on.
And there is a notice of termination of 30 days.
30 days.
You could put plastic up so they can get no air conditioning on their side.
Okay, that's good.
And shut their lights off.
Or heat.
Yeah.
Would we need, do we need something just to protect us in case somebody gets hurt out there, anything of that nature?
So that would be the indemnification clause, which is in there, and then one of the things that I was concerned about was just them providing the sheet that shows that the county's an additional insured up to the required amounts, which I believe is $1 million, which he says they have. You would make it contingent upon providing, I don't disbelieve
Yeah,
you.
it's under the partnership, so we,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we wanna help, we wanna protect our county too.
I'll get with the hospital. I'm dealing with them right now anyway, so on a couple of different things. But I'll see if they got any problem with that. I'm sure the answer's gonna be no, but
If it's the nature of what's out there too, because the VA clinic's out there, EMS is out there, a lot of doctors' offices, and then the counseling service, I can't see it being an issue.
it's never a full area with that part anyway, so. I'll get with them and, but if you wanna go ahead and,
I'd like to make the motion that Let Thrive and Veteran Services share the health department building.
there's been a motion.
I'll second that.
John, actually add to it,
Temporarily.
no, add to it on condition, or
On the
condition,
contingency that,
the health department or the hospital doesn't have a
the
problem.
hospital does not have a problem with it.
John seconds that and I'll make that unanimous. I guess my question to you, but when would you change? When would you move?
As soon as possible.
Okay, the other part of that is, I got a question about, and I guess it's a question we asked prior to the meeting, but I guess it's more to Tammy maybe.
Hang on.
One question I didn't ask is, like, time frame wise, do you want a short-term, like, 3-month contract till the end of the year, and then revisit this on a yearly basis from that point? You could enter into the same agreement, again, January 1st, it's just,
I don't have a problem with a year contract, but we always like to have these, we can both opt out anytime type thing.
He's a.
we have it for 30
I have
days.
a 30-day
to opt out.
termination, yeah.
So I have 30 days to kick him out, to get him to wanna leave.
Oh, we're
That's
talking
all?
about you.
Well, I'm good, I have an office, I'm good, I'll just go back to where I'm at.
Just do one till December 31,
Let's do that.
22.
We could.
Let's do it till the end of the year, and then we'll
Can't go
start a
more than
new
4
one, and
years, is my-
it'll be
just wanted to
January, so.
Draft a fixed term, yeah.
Yeah, so we just
Yes, sir.
Let me get my train of thought back. Oh, did we, when you came to us, a couple of meetings ago now, or maybe 3, and said you had a proposal to go full-time, did we vote on it that night? I thought we voted so that she could go to the council and and,
It was
and
brought
get
up.
brought up so the budget would show her, or did we just say that if she had our approval, but we didn't really vote for it?
No, you just discussed it.
All right, I'm gonna ask right now, let's make it final. I'm gonna ask,
Council's already ruled though,
what they do.
they didn't approve it full time.
The councilman I talked to acted like they were going to.
I asked Teresa today, they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
John asked her too,
Mhm.
and Denise can.
Yeah, and she said that, it has not been approved yet, it's not out of
The realm of
the
possibility.
realm of possibility, but it won't be, the soonest I could go full-time would be January if it's approved, which is what we,
Well, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay,
I'm
I just
gonna-
wanted to tell you.
I'm gonna make a motion to make her full-time, and to send it to the council to find the funds to do it. I mean, cause we were only talking 16 hours, weren't we?
it was something like that, because I'm at 21 now and it'll be 35 a week,
I mean,
so.
That right now, the office is being funded 6 days a week. Because you have 2 part-times at 3 days a week. You'll be asking council to fund that now 8 days a week.
okay, I guess I'm confused here. If Marty is Marty's in an office with the other guy, and do we base an office off of how many hours somebody works, or we base it off of how many people we have in an office?
All I'm saying.
Cause I mean,
is
you
that
can have a
coverage for
director
that
and you can
office.
have an admin, or you can have a
But-
secretary and somebody else, but how do you say that?
But they're both classified as veteran service officers.
The entire job description would have to be rewritten.
They're both basically the same job description. Marty's different than Ben.
I get that, I was using that as an example of how
But
do
it's
you
about having
separate
an
it?
officer there to cover the office. So whenever you approve somebody, so then at that point in time, funding is gonna be, it's not just 16
I
hours.
think we've got them both scheduled for 3 days a week. Basically, she takes care of things in office the first 3 days. And we Tom to be an outreach officer, which means he's out in the field, may not be in the office, which is, I think, what we agreed to, is that correct? I mean, we as commissioners. And I would personally like to think about whether we want to keep the outreach program or have him in the office,
Well,
which might be a
Let's-
separate issue. But
let's
we could have 2 people on top of each other here if we're not.
let's do this, let's have an executive session next week,
agree with that.
and let's talk about
Yeah.
the VA full-time position, and, I think we need to talk about the EMS position as well, so. Can you set that up for Monday, Tuesday next week, or?
Could we do it all one day?
Yeah, do it all at one time.
Sure. And I've got a couple of things I think we need to post under, we need to talk about the security issue as well.
Okay, so, sorry about that, I didn't know.
It's
what
okay,
their-
I understand,
That
I've
there was
been,
a issue within the issue, so, and I thought we addressed this once before, and that's why I guess I said it, because I thought we had already approved that. So, all right, sorry.
thank you for your time.
We got 20 minutes?
All right, moving right along, still stuck in see you.
Thank you. Thank you, Denise.
Do you really need me? I mean,
No, I think we solved 2 birds, 1 stone.
Well, John just texted me and told me to come up here and talk for 30 minutes.
I know you can, but, it'll take you 30 minutes to get to the car.
Are you gonna be using the handicap ramp now?
No, with the stairs, I can still use the stairs.
Okay.
So, I just wanna say, I know we're not on the agenda, thank you, take care of that, Tammy, thank you. Appreciate it, for what the commissioners are doing to help work with everything, I really do, so thank you.
Thanks for what you do.
And I'll send that over to you, sir.
All right, moving on, moving right along. We got courthouse roof replacement bid acceptance. So everybody had an opportunity to look at those. John?
I don't have them with me, but yes, I have.
Do you wanna, what look at them again?
No,
I don't need to,
I don't need
but I need
to.
the names, I suppose, so I do probably.
I think there was, one of them was Royalty, one of them was
American.
American, and the other one was some company from,
You have to pull one out.
Yeah.
One is royalty.
no, I thought
Royalty.
American was the one from Louisville, and that one was from Madison.
Yeah, the one,
You might.
The one that was real high.
yeah. It-
No, I don't.
I mean, just.
I just need the number, because when we make the motion, we'll have to,
The amount, you mean?
yeah, the amount, I'm sorry.
You wanna see all three of them
I don't, yeah,
there? I mean,
I'm a-
it was obvious to me where to go with this, but.
yeah, I think we're, actually, is that McElroy metal? All right. All right, we have three options here for the metal roof on the building, and they look apples to apples, although the quotes aren't or the amount's not apples to apples, but one for Royalty Construction for $148,998. One from McElroy Metal, and I think that was.
Get all there.
That was one, this is for exterior
Yeah.
pro roofing. They're from Madison, Indiana, $246,950. And then we have one from American Roofing. And where's American Roofing is for $171,900. So,
I wanna add on that too. I think there's clauses in each one of those, if they run into some dead wood, different stuff like that, will be so much extra could be there, so.
I agree with
It's
that.
like we did a while back, we just had to figure, I don't mean that couldn't be more.
That's correct.
That's an estimate and what's expected for us unless there's other issues.
I'm gonna agree with
Royalty
that.
was cheap, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Royalty was cheaper also on any repairs that they run into, and, they're gonna run into repairs. We know that.
Well, I don't, as I said to Josh today, I do not want to, I don't wanna have somebody come in here, start pulling the old roof off, find all sorts of damage and going, that wasn't in the bid, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
just slap the metal roof back on
Yeah.
and cover it all up. If there's damage, I want it fixed. I mean, I think we all want it fixed. So, and we know there's gonna be an additional cost. I mean, it may be $1,000, it may be $50,000. I mean, but whatever the damage is, needs to be repaired, because, you know, that metal roof's gonna be there longer than any of us gonna be here, so, for me anyway. So anyway, I guess at this time, I'll accept a motion to accept a bid. And
I'll make a motion for Royalty Roofing.
And I will second that bid for $148,998.
yep, kind of weird number, but,
And I've seen their work too, I know.
well, they've done a lot of roofs around Scott County, and they probably have, if I'm,
I think they have a good reputation.
yep, I think so too, and actually, I think they're out of Seymour, Indiana.
Yes.
But anyway, I'll make that unanimous, and, that would say that we're going to accept a bid of $148,998. Wow, what a number. So, make that unanimous, so.
I've got a question about change orders, because if they do find damage, there'll be a change order
Yeah.
to this price. So, is that something that you want Josh to handle, call you guys, approve those change orders, because you know, that's gonna be under what they're putting on, so it's
Yeah.
gonna be a time-sensitive thing, and if the weather and everything, this is gonna be probably like a Fast and Furious, hopefully, if we catch that
Yeah.
window. So, you guys be thinking about how you want Josh to handle that change order, because we got to check the appropriation, I don't know what was
Could we do
appropriated,
that in
but
I don't
usually
think
a
we
we
have
doesn't.
monetary, equation? You know what
Because
I'm
we
saying?
approved
Like
it.
if you can, if it's up
If
to
it's $10,000,
$25,000, yeah, approve that change
but if
order,
it's-
he's got the authority to do that. So you guys may give him authority up to a dollar amount to approve on the site a change order, and then if it gets over a certain amount, then, you know, he needs to talk to you guys
My only thing
in a
is,
meeting.
if it's like $10,000, I want to go ahead and do it, because I don't want them to stop, because we are under the gun on weather.
Do you guys
He
help me
needs,
with
he
how
needs,
much?
he needs to keep in
Or,
contact,
Zach.
so, yeah, yes.
What are you thinking?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Zach's good.
I did that intentionally, I know you're in another
I just
world.
don't
You
want
know,
you
I
guys
mean,
to
What we're saying is,
stuck.
is that we know there's gonna be damage under this roof when we take it off. And that's gonna be an additional to the $148,998. Boy, I said that real quick. But can we make a stipulation that anything, say it's $15,000, can we say if they find something and the cost of that additional is $15,000, can they go ahead and do it without us having to get together and say, hey, go ahead and do it?
Let me make a suggestion.
Go ahead.
I just, as far as I'm concerned, it's already voted on. I would just have Josh contact you. If you feel comfortable to go with it, if you're not too sure.
Well, I'll
you would
reach out to each one of
reach
you
out.
and say,
As far as I'm concerned, he can work
fine.
through
Change
you rather
orders.
than us making some special number.
Well, that's fine, I just don't want
Like
us
a
to
not
have
to
to
exceed amount.
regroup and have another meeting, is what
I
I'm
agree,
worried
and
about.
Well, I mean,
my confidence is with you.
Well, but the thing about it is, we can do this. If Josh calls and says, hey, they found something and here's what the cost's gonna be, I can send you a text, and say, are you fine? And if that's fine,
We'll go with it.
I know you didn't like that, but.
He didn't like that?
No, you can't make decisions like that, but.
Well, but we've already agreed to the amount. Okay, all right.
All right, how do you suggest we do this?
I think approving that, I don't know if I think a bid is accept or don't accept, right? You can't
We're
change
gonna,
it.
but he,
I'm saying like, so if I make an offer to somebody and they say, I like your offer, I wanna accept your offer, but I wanna add X, Y, or Z, which would be a limit not to exceed any change order or whatever. That, you didn't accept it, you actually made a counter offer. So I think you have to accept or deny the bids
Tonight.
tonight. Yeah.
No,
You
you
can
don't
delay, there's certain aspects you can delay for like there's reasons why you might postpone a vote to approve a bid, but, yeah, I think the last time this was postponed, it was to give everybody time to look through the materials, make sure we were comparing apples to apples when you looked at the difference in prices, because it did, there was a big difference there, so.
So in other words, it is what it is.
Yeah, I
Well-
think if an issue comes up during the term of it, I would,
That would be a separate payment
yeah, we
beyond
would have
the
to.
contract amount.
Yes, yes.
So
Right, there-
they could
yes.
approve the change order and pay the last draw, which would be
Yes.
your change order at the end of the process.
so we
Does
can
that make sense?
approve any
Yeah.
upgrades or
That's
any
a better
we
way
would
to
probably-
handle it.
Yeah,
but there'd be a final bill that we would come in and
And
say,
approve that in
we're gonna
excess.
approve that final bill.
Yes.
And we could stop, I guess if the guy goes, it's gonna be $100,000, we can say, we're not doing that. Or
So
they would
Josh just
kinda-
needs to keep you informed of anything that they're adding on to for the final change order.
Well, in the red here, it says, any rafter, decking, or other lumber needed to straighten the deck would charge out time and materials. Now, what's out
That's your
time?
additional, that's your change order.
yeah.
I was up there, and I
Would
climbed through the attic,
would
and
charge
I was up on the roof with Josh. And so where the original structure is, the roof is high on each of the walls. In the middle, it sags both ways, north to south, east to west. So there's gonna be,
So support it.
it's gonna be,
It's not gonna be 148,998.
no.
It's not, I know that, I know that too.
And honestly, it will probably get considerable.
I think, didn't the council appropriate 250,000 or how much?
200, I think.
200?
200.
So therefore we'll have a problem.
We got
It gets in
flex.
that range.
We do have, yeah.
But we'd have to come back and approve that amount after.
Well, I'm more worried about if it goes over.
Well, I guess we need to do this.
Yeah,
Hmm.
what color we want.
We haven't picked that color.
I almost feel like we're gonna have women do that.
Yeah. I think it
Women
needs to
have
be
a better
green.
color eye than we do.
I don't know what that is. It doesn't look like,
It seems like
it looks
it's,
like a complete thought. Time, there should be another word there, I don't know what the.
I'm gonna put
what I'm
it
saying
up.
is what's in red there.
Yeah.
So, what's your pleasure on color?
I'll
When do we
say
have
what
to
I
have
said a
that
minute ago, I think we'll have a few of the ladies look at it. They got a better eye on that stuff, I think, than we do. We don't have to decide that tonight, do we, or do we?
I think you just let them know after they get the bid.
Kinda like that orange.
Oh, God.
I got that copper penny.
Jeff votes on Marty's paint color,
Oh,
Maybe we should,
which is.
You know,
put a Facebook request on.
no, absolutely not. We don't need a
what do we got
10,000
up
people
there
to
now?
vote.
Is it brown up there now?
It's
or
black, I think.
Black?
I'm for black,
It's-
I mean, it's.
Yeah, it's brown.
I like gray.
No, it's gray. Oh, wait a minute, I got pictures.
Sure ain't white.
I got pictures.
I like grayish.
I mean,
I think we'll probably keep what we've got.
whatever it is, I don't
Go
have
the
a problem.
closest to what is existing.
But
I
anyway.
think,
John, you're trying to get me out of that 615.
Well, I tell you what, I'm getting that heating issue. Generally, the darker the colors, the more heat in the building. Is that not true?
Yes.
So we could consider a lighter
Well,
color.
what's on the museum?
It's dark.
A dark
Yeah,
slate gray.
yeah,
It's a dark gray?
yeah.
It's really
I
pretty.
think that's pretty.
And Royalty did that, by the way.
Yeah, I think,
Didn't they? I think it was Royalty,
About
wasn't it?
three
Yeah.
over
so it's a
from the
charcoal
end.
probably.
Yeah, I like about three over from the end on that off-road.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
talking
that-
about
yeah, that-
muscat gray.
Yeah, muskrat, whatever that is.
All right, we're gonna move on because John's gonna lose here.
No, I'm not.
911 EMA update. Huh? Anna Grant. Sorry. He's gonna win anyway, there ain't no way we're gonna get done.
We're all the
10
Royalty
minutes.
stuff. I don't want
It's right there. It's all stacked up. No, actually, that's not. This is. And this. And this. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, the big thing is the grant, the Empgc grant that we had to apply for before the deadline. I haven't accepted it yet. We had to make some changes because they cut it, some of what we was trying to get. So it comes down to $19,734.26, I think.
Is this a matching grant?
Nope. The county does not have to match, but
This
it
is
is.
a 100% grant.
100%, but we will have to go to council to budget it, the money.
What's the
And then
money
it's-
for again?
It's for EOC. What we're doing is we're replacing all the Apple iPads down there that are probably 6
Okay.
generations old.
Yeah.
So we're getting 8 new tablets that are not Apple. Because I can't stand Apple, but they'll have the mapping system on it. And it's for the EOC personnel to use. And like I said, it comes to $19,734. You got a copy of the paperwork in there.
Actually, that's what that was.
Like I said, I haven't agreed to it with the state yet, so it's whatever your pleasure is. It's free money, we just have to spend it and then they send it back to us.
You just need us to vote on it.
Yeah, before I go to council to,
Need a motion?
Ted, yes.
I'll need a motion to, let you apply for the grant, is that what it is?
I've already applied for it, already got the partial award, so we're gonna get it. I
Need
just,
us to accept it.
yeah, I just need you guys to accept it before I accept it.
I made the motion to accept the grant.
I'll second that.
I'll make that unanimous.
Thank you for looking for that.
Appreciate it.
The only other thing I had was, it's been a year and 6 days since I took this position. This time last year, we were 29,000 over budget on our part-time. So far, this year, we still have money in part-time. So we've made a lot of cuts and adjustments to save money over there. We had 4 out with COVID this year, and then the one that was out for 5 months on FMLA, so
So
it is
you-
pretty hard.
You gonna place an ad to replace her?
I've already got them replaced.
I didn't hear you.
Already replaced. We
Okay.
lost one, she moved to Tennessee, and then we lost one on FMLA. And I've replaced them starting Sunday, this new pay period. So
Was that somebody that was part-time or
Yeah.
full-time?
they both came from part-time to full-time, so we're back fully staffed, and we're down to about 3,000 left in part-time budget, but Teresa said we can transfer the money from the girl that was on FMLA that didn't get used to help in case we need it, so.
So you're not gonna replace part-time by part-time?
I've interviewed a couple, I had 3 applications, one was a no-call, no-show, and I've interviewed 2 to hire part-time, so we've not made a decision on that yet.
Well, I wanna thank you for watching public meeting. If you save that much, that's a good thing.
Yep, I agree.
We're doing our best over there to do that, so. Sometimes it's hard, you know, because we're scheduled to have 3 on day shift and 3 on second. The 2 busiest shifts, and those people over there, we've cut back and said, okay, we're only gonna have 2 here on this shift because we're trying to watch the money a little bit better. Because I think last year we was 60,000 over on part-time budget, so
Yeah, but
by the end of the
It's
year.
easy
The
to
lad-
spend part-time money. It's
It
easy
is.
to spend it.
It is.
but last year were you fully staffed the whole year?
No,
See, you're using part-time to cover a full-time position that you haven't filled, so yeah, I can see how you quickly just go through that, so, I guess
if
that's,
there's anything that you guys see that you need changed or want changed, or my door's always open. Me and Mike talked today, and
is that what that was?
you did a lot of talking, I did a lot of listening, but
Without going into details, I was impressed with our system up in Brown
Oh,
County.
my, yeah.
yeah. And I've talked to the sheriff today, and he's back to his old ways. But I told him, I said, me and you're gonna go to lunch, and I'm gonna show you both systems,
You're
and
gonna have to buy it, I can tell.
if I have to buy him lunch, I will, but I'm gonna get him convinced to go to that other system.
Well, and like I told you, there's nothing says he can't keep what he's got,
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, but
That don't make it good or
I'm
bad,
on.
but I think he can,
for people that are listening and people that are sitting there, well, what we're talking about is we went to Brown County, Indiana, with a personal invite from Jeff to witness, I guess, or see an example of a new system is out there. And I have talked to some other people that were in those systems. They're like, oh no, there's no way I can do it. I said, I'm telling you right now, it did something I'd never seen before. But we were in Brown County riding around in cars with people that were actually talking to a guy that was on the backside of Hardy Lake. And it sounded like he was sitting in the car with us.
as good as we are right now.
Yeah, and I just, never in my life did I ever see something that I would think that would work like that.
and the 5-watt
We do
portable.
one,
And that was, you're exactly right, and that was on a handheld radio, that wasn't on a base, that wasn't on a car radio, that was on a handheld to handheld, and it was pretty impressive, so.
yeah, they go on one side of forestry and somebody else complete on the other side, where you got all this hillside between you. Didn't make a bit of difference.
No,
Yeah,
actually,
with our current low band system, we could have an officer sitting in the parking lot at Walmart and have trouble talking to dispatch.
And I think
Yeah.
the real kicker is we don't have to build any towers.
No towers.
no, everything was on an existing water tower or something, so it was pretty impressive. I think so much impressed that the state police, if I'm not mistaken from Michael Dyer, is that the state police has an 800 tower in the same facility they have, and they were using his as a backup because theirs went down. So if the state police swears by the 800s, and they're willing to jump off and jump on this system, then I think that,
I would, and you get to use the existing radio.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. However, I think we would probably have to buy several more, or somebody
No,
would.
not really.
How we gonna,
There's
some
have you
upgrades.
found those 17?
I've got 13.
Okay,
Actually, I got 15.
okay.
I got 2 from the hospital, and EMS has 13 because they replaced all of their handhelds. So they have 13 spares. So there's 15 radios.
Okay.
so where was we saying that we need those radios for who?
The sheriff's department.
Well, the
But
sheriff,
our talk today, you need to find out where what the sheriff did with those those radios that he had.
yeah, cause the sheriff, when they went away from this radio right here, they ought to be somewhere.
Well, that's what we're talking about. That's-
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't know if
He can't
they're,
Trying to find them, yeah.
he
I
couldn't.
don't know if
he
they're in
shouldn't-
storage
he
or-
I
shouldn't
know
be
where
able to-
one is.
You shouldn't be able to sell them, but I mean,
Because-
they ought to be somewhere, because,
EMS, when we encrypted their channel 2 weeks ago, they asked, and those radios like that are $1,000 a piece, is what you can sell them for.
Now,
And I told Kyle not to sell those, to hold on to them, because if we go to this new system, we could possibly use them.
now this would fix us up for, I mean, who's gonna pay for each department? Is this gonna come out of our grant we're talking about for everybody? Scottsburg, Austin, all the fire?
so there wouldn't be a cost to
Yeah, there
anybody.
wouldn't be a cost to any agencies, because they're able to use their existing equipment.
Right, but somebody's gotta go in and redo those radios.
Not necessarily.
That's included
That's
in that
included.
price.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I want to
The
know.
upgrade-
I assume we're talking about everybody in the county.
The upgrade was from, Michael.
By the way, it's 17, 18.
I know, you knew,
Yeah.
you kept talking over about
That's
some radio.
$498,000 for that new system.
Okay.
If you look at the quote, it has reprogramming of equipment.
You drug it out, John.
Okay, well, it's like everything, there's always an extra question or two.
Oh,
What?
is it, you said you had to get the sheriff on board?
No.
No, I don't have to, but I'm trying to convince him that it'd be better for his people and safer.
Right now, and I mean, it's always been my gripe, and the gripe I have, the conversation Jeff and I had today, and the conversation Kyle and I had today was about, if that's what you wanna call it,
My ear still hurts.
is that communication is key to people's safety. And I say people's safety as a police officer, a fireman, EMS, sheriff's deputy, is paramount that everybody can hear you. I mean, and Jeff knows this story. I sat in my house, a city police officer was sitting in the back lot over here on a felony stop, and dispatch couldn't hear him. Well, that's a prime example. There's another example of a sheriff's deputy being on the backside of Lexington, and no one could hear that he, was on a felony stop, and nobody could hear him. It actually, a phone call came from another deputy to the Scottsburg City police officers that were on duty and said, "Can you not hear him? He's asking for help." So they went out there. So in turn, my whole thing here is about safety, officer safety, EMS safety, fireman safety, everybody out. And 911 did anything but told people that you need to be able to communicate with different departments. And we kind of went away from that. And my whole thing about getting this system is trying to get everybody back on the same page so everybody hears everybody. And it's not like there's, the argument's always been that, well, we're doing stuff we don't want anybody else to hear. There's tactical channels that you can go to that nobody can hear but the people that have those radios that are on your department. The fire department has their own tactical state or channel that no one, not even dispatch, can hear what they're doing on that channel.
Yeah, I always felt like, and this was one of my concerns when we first, and from talking to Jerry about it, Well, the concern with the city police don't have much problem talking to each other, Scottsburg, Dawson, because they're pretty much, and the sheriff had a lot bigger area to get out on, so a little bit, and the 800 served its purpose for that. But, after seeing this system, I think it is good or better than 800.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I look for a lot of agencies, and like you said, Harrison County and what was it, Lawrence County. They're all going to that system because it's more reliable and it's a whole lot cheaper to
Well,
put up 2 existing equipments in the county for 800.
Well, you don't have to build the towers, you don't have to
You're-
buy all new radios.
Yeah, you're talking 1.5 million to upgrade the 800. And as he showed you on those maps, the white spots, half of the county still no coverage with adding 150 or $1.5 million worth of equipment
My whole-
compared to 500,000.
Well, I think it's a good deal. I think we need to push it through. And I think it's, again, if we can't communicate with somebody, then, we're all lost, so.
When can we put that on the agenda to vote for it?
We need to go through ARP.
Yeah, we gotta put a plan together and a whole bit, don't we? It's not as simple as just raising our hands, I don't think.
Yeah, we have to go through ARP and
I'm just trying to get
and go through our accountant there and find out if he.
And we haven't even
I got
prioritized everything yet,
I
so
started a folder for all these
according.
Wish list,
solicitations.
wish list.
But as far as our talk, we can talk again later, but I've done some more checking and, I mean.
Well, that's another hospital conversation I have, so, and I've already had it a little bit, but I'm gonna continue that conversation about, rights and wrongs.
Yeah.
And,
I've got the 2 radios that were taken to the jail. They're on my desk. And, well, me and you talked and how I feel, and I told you. So,
I get that. We'll go from there. We're good. Yes.
Shouldn't the hospital be in that loop too, knowing what's ahead, like on the EMS when they're doing a run?
Sometimes.
I mean, like to be prepared for what's
Sometimes.
coming in, if it was to change.
That wasn't the problem. The problem is that, and actually, I don't wanna really discuss it too much. That wasn't the whole problem. There is a problem that I've actually talked with some of the administrators of the hospital, and I'm gonna have that conversation again in more depth they do have a radio still, but, they can't.
Encrypted.
They can't hear it right now, but, hopefully we can get that settled as long as the other side of the issue gets settled too, so. So there's some fault there that needs to be fixed. So anyway,
I was approached about the problem and
I know you were.
gave the solutions, and that's what,
I know.
So it's your fault.
I scheduled, I made the call to get it done.
Okay.
I get you.
Is it all right with you?
We're not going through that again.
No.
All right, Public Defender Board appointment. Has anybody got anybody that they wanna? Well, I'm gonna ask for us to table this to the next meeting, cause I have 2 fillers out for somebody, and I wanna make sure that before I throw a name out, that they're 100% on board with that. So let's move on. Attorney comments, EMS striker contract.
So unfortunately, I do have to talk tonight. Where is I just had a copy of it.
Here's a
Oh,
copy.
You all have it, okay.
Well, everybody's got one.
So I reached out to Stryker, with some help from Kyle. We kind of itemized what the county's using, what the county's not using. That had changed, I think, at some point. I think the sheriff has maybe indicated he can use some items that were purchased and that he would buy them from EMS. There's still some things that can be done on the back end here, I think, in terms of potential donations to 501c3s and then getting that money reimbursed back through ARP funds. So it may be possible to get back additional amounts here, but after talking with Strikers, believe it's in-house counsel, they've agreed to amend the terms of the contract and accept every item that we designated back, as long as they are sent back by, I believe the deadline's November 4th. Let me make sure.
That's a plus.
Well, I think there's still some money involved.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
There's
100%.
still some money involved.
That's better than,
Oh,
it's better than what it was.
I can breathe again, yeah.
I'm sorry, I should have had this pulled up.
Oh, you're fine. Take that off his time.
People won't wonder.
Or go with, or I'll have those little timers that would.
I'm gonna bring my little chicken in here.
John just kept talking, wouldn't shut up, and
I should've took you up on that bet. He wouldn't have paid it, I know he wouldn't have.
I would've took the bet, cause I don't bet, so.
So they would amend
I wouldn't even
the
bet, sure,
contract, return of the items, unused equipment, they need to be back by November 8th. They're gonna send, further instructions basically on how to send the items that are already, still boxed up. The prior agreement was 3 annual payments of $212,973.60. Based on returning these items and the reduction they've agreed to, it's now gonna be 3 annual payments of $153,394.15. So they've agreed to reduce the annual amount by, an estimated $60,000. So,
So hang on a minute, was the other number, the first number 200 and what?
212,
And that was for how many payments? 3?
3 annual.
Okay. Alright.
It's almost 213, but yeah.
But the 153, 394
Is the new,
is the new number,
that is what everybody has in front of them.
but that is prior to us using any kind of ARP money
Correct,
to supplement
yes.
us giving away stuff to
We will
fire departments and.
That's more of like an internal kind of accounting issue.
Yeah.
Rather than, this money will still have to be appropriated on an annual basis by council to meet the terms of this contract. They're not gonna care whether it comes from ARP or not.
So I guess my other part of that is
So,
that gonna be in EMS's budget that they have to, or is that gonna be in the general fund that we're going to say, we're gonna yank it out of the general fund to pay this?
That'll be a council thing, so they will have to look at, they just approved the budget last week. And so based on their cash on hand that they have left going into the 2022 budget cycle, they'll have to figure out where they move this money up from and the funds that's applicable to move the
That's what
money
I
up
have.
in.
That's about.
Yeah.
It's
Total
$460,182.
But internally, when we pay the striker payment, we can dictate, if, once approved by commissioners and council and our financial advisor and our attorney, if that does meet the ARPA guidelines, then we could actually fund part of this payment from ARPA.
Yeah,
And that's an internal
and I
function.
believe Stryker would help us kind of figure out what items were
And the price
valued at what, so that
associated.
we could,
Yeah, I guess.
And it allows us to keep equipment we need too.
they've allowed us to keep
Yeah.
the equipment we need,
Yeah.
or that was already in use.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
And,
Yeah.
frankly, I think it's probably the best situation that you could end up with in this kind of.
I think, I wanna thank you for all your legwork of getting this reduced. And, but I also know that it still was an oversight that it happened in the first place, so. But it is what it is. But we did save, let's see here, we did save $175,818, so.
Well, they're still looking at $460,182.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and I guess I mean, I'm not saying that, I'm not jumping up and down saying, oh, happy days, but because, you know, we could have used that money from ARP in another area that we're having to use it here to settle something. So, anyway.
The issue is though that, and I know this maybe is not exactly the point of you going over this, but the county has at a minimum used all of the equipment that is
Oh, yeah.
not, that they're not taking back.
Oh, yeah.
So there's, I mean, I don't know what potential remedy would even exist
Well, there wasn't.
to undo what was done. And I think this is probably
This is the best outcome that we could have asked for, because we did add,
under the
if,
circumstances.
the circumstances, if they were all still boxed up, and none of them was in use,
Yeah.
then we would have been able to send more back, but the situation, it wasn't that. And one of the big ticket items were all these, I don't even know what you call them, but they're a lift assist type of machine that sits in the back of the ambulance, so I think they were actually, I'm gonna quote it, I think they were like $28,000 a piece.
Yeah, and I don't know how you would get that money.
You can't
back,
take
but,
them back, so.
I mean, that will, if I understand what Kyle said, I don't know if it was at the last meeting or not, but essentially buying those will reduce annual payments.
Oh,
For a couple different issues
Work
related
backward.
to insurance,
Yeah.
so
Workers' comp.
I don't know how much it takes to pay back the $28,000 a piece of the, you know, how
I
many
get
years
that.
that takes, but,
I've used them, so,
There are
I mean,
some-
where you're lifting a person in the back of an ambulance to raise a stretcher up to put them in there, this thing does it. So it's going to save our people from getting hurt or injured or something else, so that, it's on a wish list, it's a great item. Is it something that we absolutely had to have? Probably wasn't gonna be on somebody's list, so. Again, I appreciate you doing the legwork and talking with Stryker and negotiating a settlement here of some sorts, even though,
they,
I'm gonna say,
They
yeah,
were
I think
very-
you
they were-
did a good job,
they were
I
good.
just don't like that.
yeah,
I don't like it either, but I think you've done
I
such a
think
good.
Stryker was,
they were fair.
they were fair, good to
Well-
work with on this,
Yeah, they're smart enough to know their business.
yeah.
They want people to say they work and work with it.
Well, I'm sure there's other customers, cause some of those items were probably items out there right now that nobody can get. So they're probably gonna turn around and sell them right. So, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
That's
Yeah, I
it.
know. Anyway, is that all you got?
That is all I have, but I would, I think because of the dates that have been imposed by the proposals that are here, I would just ask that the commissioners authorize Mike or another representative to sign the agreement, the amended agreement.
This one?
This
You want Stryker?
yes,
Yeah, that's
the
fine.
agreement as amended, that includes, you know, the short form conditional sales agreement, the exhibit, the insurance authorization and verification, opinion of council, and the state and local government rider. I do have a final thing to talk with Stryker about related to the opinion of council letter, but, they've agreed to talk with me about that.
I guess my question here is, since they gave us a drop dead date to send it back, and they're making arrangements to pick them up,
Well, I don't know that they're gonna make arrangements to send them to pick it up, we might have to.
well, I mean, I get that,
Yeah.
but we need to make sure if we're not waiting for them to send them back.
Yes, I'd like to go ahead and,
Off.
get this approved so that we can go move to the next step, which is, figure out how to get those items back to, I assume, Michigan.
Well,
I'll make a motion.
and
to
we're
have-
talking about less than 2 weeks, so,
Because
Yes,
your next meeting's not till the 4th, and that's
Yeah.
a little close to the 8th.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
Well, I will make a motion to have Mike sign anything that has anything to do with this, because I don't want my signature anywhere near it.
So outside of a meeting,
I'll second that.
authorize Mike to
sign
sign
outside of
of the meeting,
this
but with,
amended
yeah,
structure.
the amended structure.
I second the motion.
unfortunately, make that unanimous. 20 years from now, somebody will look at that and go,
There you go,
he
President.
what? He signed what?
Yeah, that's the total amount.
Do I need to sign this one?
I would wait, there's a lot of information, there's a couple different pages for signatures.
Alright.
And the problem is, 20 years from now, that price will still be ludicrous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for anybody. Alright, moving on, payroll ratification for October 8th, 2021. Everybody had an opportunity to look at that?
Yeah.
Need a motion to accept the payroll.
Motion made.
Second.
I'll make that unanimous. Consideration of September 14th, special and September 15th, 2021 regular meeting minutes.
Motion made.
Second.
I'll make that unanimous. And actually,
Did you-
there's
Oh,
two, looks like two family medical leave requests, and actually, I forgot to bring a receipt from a hotel to get reimbursed.
there you go, there's three, yeah, well, there's two, I'm so sorry, there's two in there.
Okay.
I know Tammy didn't hear that.
I did, I heard what you said, you got a receipt.
No, I said I forgot to bring a
Oh.
receipt.
Oh, you forgot to.
I was
bring it.
told
Got
that,
that
I
one.
was told that, I need to bring it so I get paid.
Well, you're spending $460,182, and how much more are you gonna spend?
I didn't spend that.
Your names are gonna be on it.
Yeah.
And Teresa and I'll be gone next 2 days to Indianapolis, but I'm still reachable by cell phone and whatnot. If you guys have anything, I can audit from afar. And, I just want to tell you guys real quickly that we did, post the transfer station, full-time position. The application process closes on the 29th of this month, so it carries all the way through. Also, council looked at the salary ordinance and the appropriation for that particular department, and they set the salary for that full-time attendant at $36,000 plus benefits per year. That equates to $17.31 an hour. Realize that
The application, I wanna know that.
the applicants will also probably be interested in how many days a week this is, and their 40 hours is scattered out over 60 days.
What did the last thing you said?
Their 40 hours is scattered over a 6-day week.
That part-time
They work
Saturday.
9 to 4, no lunch break, it's paid lunch break. That's 35 hours Monday through Friday, and then they work a 5-hour shift on Saturday,
Why is it important? You said 36,000, what is it,
even.
Okay, and that's a reduction of what was being paid, how much? What was-
Yes.
What was
The prior salary to somebody who was very senior, that
40-some years.
was 21.30 something, I think, an hour, 21
What's that come
something.
to in a year's time?
It was 46 or something. I thought it was more
Well,
than that.
let me see,
Well, anyway,
I
I
can
just
tell
want
you.
whoever's flying these know is we're not gonna get the old salary.
Well, that's true, because he's built his years of service, built that to that salary level.
44.4,
Yeah,
yeah,
something like that.
44.4.
So I mean, that's a base salary to start off with, and then you have, but, with a guy with 40-some years experience, or I won't say experience, I mean with longevity, he's, the raises and everything else, he's worked his way to that.
Well, and our policy is now, I think, correct me, if it's somebody's worked here before and wants to come back and work again, their longevity doesn't count past.
You can start all
You
over.
start all over again.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's our policy.
It's continuous.
So somebody would need to know that they.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, I guess,
So if
I was-
anybody
I-
asks you, that's what the pay is, right now,
36 something,
36,000
What is that,
even with
17?
benefits.
and that's a 40-hour
17.
week.
40-hour week, but it is over a 6-day period.
Yeah,
Involves 6 days, $17.31 per hour with benefits.
okay.
And don't forget to mention the 6% deferred comp match that we offer.
Also, I guess before we get away from this, I've got a request here for 2 FMLA requests. We want to I need a motion to approve both those.
I'll make the motion to approve both of them.
John makes a motion, Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous. I've got, I was gonna ask about I can't see that.
That's color your roof.
Yeah, it's great. I was gonna ask,
I can't see it.
I was gonna ask about, posting, a job for EMS, but I think I'll wait till after next week and do it at the next meeting for the fact that I think we need to discuss it in an executive session about, you know, what we're actually asking for or wanting or whatever, so, you know, I think we need to discuss that, so with that, I guess I'm gonna ask if anybody's got anything since John won the bet.
No, you lost the bet.
Alright, I lost the bet. And if it wasn't for the VA, I'd probably won.
Did we vote for that tonight?
What's that?
Did we vote to give her the time, or we put that off to executive?
We put it off 'cause,
To executive session.
Cause we wanna talk about that, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. That's what I thought, but I wanted to be sure.
You got anything?
No, sir.
Really?
Nope.
Randy?
He looked like he wanted to talk.
Tammy?
I'm good.
He tried, there's something
No,
to
I-
say. It's ready to come off. his
But,
lips.
so you're gonna be gone the rest of this week.
Thursday, I'll be back Friday, but
Uh,
if you guys need something, reach out to me.
we don't have a meeting. No.
I'm speaking of your executive meeting, I kinda did a little calendar markup on my, alright, the 25th, I've got a 3 o'clock meeting with Drainage Board, the 27th I'm out, the 29th I'm out at noon. That leaves Tuesday the 26th and Thursday the 28th
I'm fine with the 26th.
for executive.
Yeah.
Let me look here. You say 26th?
Yeah, it's on
26th.
Tuesday.
Let me see what I got here. I got my schedule, and I got my wife's.
What time?
No, I don't know, I'm waiting for them to come.
What'd you say?
What time?
Oh, I thought you said 9 o'clock. I thought, hey, no.
He's retired.
Tuesday, we're waiting for John to
Yeah, let me. have a
check
look
and
here.
see if,
As good as any.
what time?
Executive session, are we?
What time can Zach, we need Zach back.
Yeah,
Is that the same day as our,
Drainage Board,
I'm actually
that's
free.
Monday, isn't it?
Drainage Board's Monday at 3.
I'm actually free that entire day, whatever
Okay.
you'd like to do.
No, it's at 3, Randy, on Monday.
Okay.
Why don't we do, everybody good with 3 o'clock?
Yeah,
Or you wanna do later?
If
I
we
wouldn't
can.
bother me to do it
I
early
mean,
or
I'll
later.
do
either.
later, I
Yeah.
don't care.
3 o'clock is fine, whatever.
What you
Well,
got?
we're having two
I know
meetings.
you're working,
Okay.
you're the only one working, what you got?
9
Well, two
I
executive
guess
sessions.
3
Let's
o'clock.
just,
We can have them all under one, I'll post them under one.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just have one
And this
time.
one happens to come
let's
in.
do
We
it
don't
at
have 2
4.
reasons.
Okay.
That'll make it better for you.
Probably.
Let's do it at 4 on Tuesday.
Okay.
Randy's got, he's got to make a living.
Yeah.
We probably ought to, I just thought this is simple.
Ah,
If
you're-
we didn't do anything at all, we'd go unnoticed. But we probably ought to vote to make Halloween the same as Scottsburg and Austin this year, in case there's any doubts for anybody.
Yeah.
I know they're doing it on the square, 29th, so we should have out in the county the same hours.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Want to vote on it?
Make your motion.
Just make
I'll
it,
make the motion to make Halloween the equivalent of what Scottsburg has, which I think is October 29th, a Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
I'll second that.
I'll make that unanimous. You just did have to drag it out longer. I'll entertain a motion to close the
Wait a
meeting.
minute, I want to talk a little bit. I'll make a motion during the meeting.
I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous. Kill the owl.
I'm a bird killer.